Hey guys, I just want to talk a little bit about this election and some of the things that actually this election entails. And so I believe this election was a fundamental battle of good versus evil, and God left it up to the American people to make their choice. I believe that that's what happened this election. The people chose reality. The people chose sanity, right? They chose common sense. And people feel relieved. Many people. I felt relieved. My family felt relieved. Right, there was a sense of something being lifted after he was elected. Right, and so he was. It was too big to rig. Surely, I mean, you look at the inconsistencies with 2020 and all of that stuff. He made it too big to rig. There are many people in this nation who likely voted Trump, many more than probably how it appears. Or he probably got a much stronger victory than it appears. But we have, look at the DNC. Let's look at both sides. At the DNC, we have they're for gays, they're for transgenderism, they're for abortion, they're for this postmodernism, abolishing truth. Let's get rid of truth altogether, right? You can't have any foundation for reality based on that, right? And at the DNC, they initiated it with a child sacrifice by having mobile abortion vans outside the DNC. Like, what is that? I mean, could they be any more clear? You look at the Paris Olympics. You look at all these things. The Democrats showed their hand of being evil. Lefties showed their hand of being evil. Go watch the video where Jordan Peterson interviews this guy who wrote a book on Karl Marx and his occult, weird, devilish tendencies. And so it kind of makes you wonder, where all this ended up stemming from, right? It could have ended up all stemming from the devil, right? And so anyway, we have this election. We have the one side that's for evil. We have the one side that's for good. We have the two-party system. We had a choice. Americans had a choice. They could say, hey, I'm going to take the good, the common sense, the side of truth, right? Or I'm going to take the side of evil. And the American people spoke loudly. And it was and people felt better because there was hope. There was a future, right? And America chose good, the spiritual good. That's why there was a lifting of the spirit, right? Because when you live more in tune with God, live more in tune with His ways, live more in tune like that, you just feel more lifted up. When you're lost in sin, when you're burdened in sin, you're all the time worried about stuff. You're all the time thinking about stuff. There's always this burden that you can't really explain, right? It's just a much more negative life when you live in sin. When you choose to live life in a godly way, for God, and spiritually, and make it your identity, make it your life. That's what we're called to do. We're bought with a price. We're not our own, right? And so, listen, that should be our whole identity. Christianity should not be a tack on to you, something that you are. You should be you are a Christian. It's not just something, you know what I'm saying? You are a Christian completely. And so, back to this election stuff. Look, God let us have the choice, and the American people chose life. They chose sanity. And it is now a perfect time to return to common sense, to return to truth, to throw wokeness and postmodernism out the window. There is truth. That's why Jesus says He's the rock, right? He's our foundation, right? We build on the foundation. And we have to have God in the culture. We have to have God in society. It's a must. It's an absolute must. Where do we derive our laws from? We get the laws from morals, okay? Where do we get the morals from? We get it from spirituality. We get it from our religion, right? And so it stacks up all based off of the spirituality, right? When you take that out, when you take out that foundation, you make it a foundation on sand, and the rest of it is going to crumble, right? It has to be involved. Look, people throw away knowledge of the past. They consider these old people from times before to be just totally barbaric, and in some cases they were, but oftentimes they were wise. And everyone in human history practiced spirituality. It was a given. It was a given in life. And they were onto something. It's true. There is spirituality to life. And so this election was much more than just a choice between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris for policies. It was a choice of morals. And look at in the Bible, at how many times Israel, when they turned from God, they would get destroyed. When they turned back to Him, they'd build up. When America turned from God in the hippie movement, things have been going downhill ever since in ways. Yes, we've got increased technology and certain things, but in other ways it's went very, very downhill and has led us to where we are today. It's a perfect time to try to promote Christianity. John Bones Jones at the UFC shouted out Jesus Christ, wanted to acknowledge Jesus Christ. There are many more people talking about Jesus now. I just started my channel, and hopefully I can get a following or a little bit of something, a little niche, somewhat of a little boutique channel here, but I just wanted to put these ideas out there. I really do think this election was very important. I think God would have turned us completely over to our own destruction had we elected Biden. And it remains to be seen what will happen. Trump is not in office yet. They're trying to start World War III. But I believe at this point that if God brought Trump this far, made the election too big to rig, saved him from the assassination, and he's now president, God is going to carry him through. I believe God is going to carry him through on this mission. And we can only pray that that happens. We need to pray for His protection and stuff. Not because it's Donald Trump and I'm some sycophant, but because it's the most efficient, best way to get back to some reality, to get back to some morals, to get back to and eventually, hopefully, get people back into the faith. Is so important for people, man, and they're missing it. They're truly missing out. And I think Christians, the whole reason I'm making this channel is because Christians need to do that. There needs to be many approaches of giving the gospel, right? The gospel is you never change the gospel. You always give the same gospel, but you can look at it in a different light, right? You can tell one person, say, hey, you need to get saved so you don't go to hell. God's going to judge you. You need to get saved. God will forgive you. You could say that. Or you could say, hey, Jesus Christ is the bread of life. He's the water of life. If you drink of this water, you'll never thirst again, right? And things of that nature. You can approach it from that way as well. And I think that way is going to play very well with people today. And of course you don't leave out the sin, but I think it would play very well with people today. You see all these people looking into the New Age movement and Buddhism and Hinduism and all that stuff. Hey, I was there. I was into all kinds of crazy stuff, dude, believe me. But people are yearning for this stuff. Spirituality is real. And hopefully as Christians we can take this momentum that's building up right now and really try to get out there. So I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.